to the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello, everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, a fifth accident involving a vehicle that crashed into a house in just a week's time.
Plus, the keepers of the state's electric grid say they're ready for the long, hot summer.
And a special summit is held at the University of Maine to discuss ways to stop hazing.
Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith.
And I'm Craig Polson. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll have all those stories and much more coming up later on, including a story of a lady in Quebec who is making freeze-dried food for people and pets to help save them money. It's kind of a neat story coming up. But first, to check out that forecast, and it looks like not a bad day today, but the clouds are going to be building, and we'll have a chance of some thunderstorms later on. They're now saying potentially some very strong thunderstorms.
Yep, yeah. I know. I got the alert on my phone, so we'll see. Here's Devin Biggs with the answers.
And thank you very much, Craig and Emma. Happy Wednesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Comfort Shoes and More. Need the proper fit for your new spring and summer footwear? Visit us across from Irving and Newport. Already this morning, some clouds are developing out there, tracking from the northwest and going to the south and east. Not a whole lot going on here. We'll have a good amount of sunshine to start things off, mixing in with a little bit of cloud cover from time to time. But later this afternoon, more clouds will develop, along with chances for showers and thunderstorms that will begin to enter the picture. But for now, just a little bit of activity. Just to the west of us, a few showers and a rumble of thunder there, but for now, we're looking pretty good. Now, later today, we'll lose some of the clouds, but then more clouds developing later in the afternoon with the daytime heating. We'll lose those storm chances overnight as, of course, the sun goes down, but then watching for widespread areas of dense fog as we head towards early Thursday morning. As for the wind, though, again, not too bad. Maybe a quick breeze at around 5 to 10 miles per hour at times, but overall, the wind will be rather quiet today and the parts of tonight, maybe picking up a little bit more as we head towards the daytime tomorrow. So for today, partly cloudy, a few thunderstorms possible, locally heavy downpours cannot be ruled out with highs in the mid-80s, maybe a little humid out there as well, and the wind overall looking nice and calm. Later on tonight, some thunderstorms early, then becoming partly cloudy. Areas of dense fog also possible with lows in the mid-50s and a southeast breeze at around 5 miles per hour. And for tomorrow, mostly cloudy, some sprinkles possible, highs in the mid-70s and a southeast wind at around 20 miles per hour. All right, at our early forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period, showing increasing clouds by the afternoon with chances for showers and thunderstorms warming up into the 80s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Emma.
Thank you, Devin. A business in Bar Harbor was damaged when a car ran into it on Tuesday morning. Officials say it happened around 10 o'clock at a Main Street restaurant called Melt. Police say an 18-year-old driver from Ellsworth was trying to put her car in reverse, but it went into drive. The driver was not injured. Police say the section of building that was hit was not occupied at the time, but it did suffer substantial damage.
One person is dead after a car crashed into a home in Norway. According to the Sun Journal, the car crashed into a home on Waterford Road, also known as Route 118, on Tuesday. The driver was pronounced dead at the scene. The chief medical examiner is now working to determine if the driver died from the crash itself or from a medical event. That's according to the Sun Journal.
Authorities have identified a man who was killed after crashing in a truck into a home in Hamden. Police say it was 45-year-old Brian Fournier of Old Town who was behind the wheel. Fournier was traveling on the Coldbrook Road Monday morning when he suddenly went off the road. His truck traveled across a field before slamming into the home. The people inside were not hurt, but Fournier was pronounced dead at the scene. Police are still trying to figure out if a medical event or something else caused him to leave the roadway. This has been the fifth accident involving a vehicle striking a house just this week. Other than what we've already mentioned, there's also been accidents in Madawaska and Lewiston.
Well, in other news this morning, a man missing from Bangor has been found safe. 68-year-old David Segroy left his house on Langley Street Tuesday morning for a bicycle ride. He has been living with dementia, and his family was concerned when he didn't return. Well, Bangor police reported late last night that the search came to a happy ending when Mr. Segroy was located in Searsport. They say he is now safe and has been reunited with his family.
The sunny weather is finally upon us, and temperatures are starting to rise as summer approaches. And as folks turn up the AC, leaders with New England's power system say they're ready to meet the increased demand. Our Augusta reporter Corey Bichard has the story.
Well, ISO New England has been preparing for the summer months leading up to this time because it's when we tend to see the highest demand for electricity in the region.
According to Mary Kate Colapietro, the spokesperson for ISO New England, one way to think about the electric grid is like a road system. ISO New England is like the interstate highway system, keeping electricity moving between the states based off of supply and demand. Maine's power companies, CMP and Versant, are like the roads handled by municipalities, keeping electricity flowing to our houses. Typically, more electricity is used in the summer months, which could put a strain on the electric grid. Colapietro says they are prepared for that strain.
When the weather gets warmer, folks are going to plug in their fans, run their air conditioners, and so that's when we tend to see the highest needs for electricity. So in advance of the summer months, our forecasters are taking into account the weather. We have 23 weather monitoring stations all across the New England region that are incorporated into this forecast. And that way we can take a look and see how much demand we are expected to have.
In order to prepare, Colapietro says it takes a lot of coordination between states in the New England region.
And we're in contact with the power producers in the region. ISO New England doesn't own any electric generating facilities, but we're in touch with them to ensure that there's going to be the power there to meet the demand.
According to Colapietro, ISO New England was able to secure around 30,000 megawatts for the grid during the summer, well above what they expect to see.
We're anticipating a peak of about 24,553 megawatts. And to give you an idea of that number in context, 1 megawatt of electricity can serve about 750 to 1,000 homes here in New England.
As long as electricity stays within their forecast, customers in the region shouldn't see any interruptions in power during peak usage. In Augusta, I'm Corey Bouchard for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
Hannaford Supermarkets has issued a recall for one of its private brands of trail mix at select stores in Maine, New Hampshire, and Massachusetts. It's all due to a potential labeling error. The 12-ounce packages of indulgent trail mix purchased between November 1st, 2023 and June 3rd of 2024 may be missing the tree nut allergen specification on the label. The sell-by date for the trail mix is October 1st, 2024. Customers who purchased the product have the option to return to their local Hannaford supermarket for a full refund. The impacted products have since been removed from store shelves. So far, there have been no reports of illnesses or injury. For a list of impacted stores, you can visit hannaford.com/product recalls.
Senator Angus King is expressing concerns over a recently finalized rule on staffing levels at nursing homes. The new rule, which has not gone into effect yet, requires an increase in minimum staffing levels at facilities in an effort to make residents safer. But Senator King says the people aren't there to hire and that this will ultimately lead to more closures and less care for senior citizens and veterans.
It's a classic example of the best being the enemy of the good, where they want to improve staffing levels. That's fine, except right now, every nursing home in Maine and the country is hurting for staff, for CNAs and for nurses. So passing a rule like this will have the only practical effect will be fewer nursing home beds. And I just think that's ridiculous.
The new rule will not take effect for a few more years, and in the interim, King hopes to see a Congressional Review Act, which gives Congress the power to potentially repeal the rule.
Well, meanwhile, college and university leaders from around the country came together for the University of Maine's annual Summit on Hazing Prevention, sharing research efforts to stop hazing at high schools and colleges nationwide. Hazing is any activity expected of someone joining or participating in a group that humiliates, degrades, abuses, or endangers them, regardless of a person's willingness to participate. The annual Hazing Prevention Consortium Summit is held each year by Stop Hazing, an organization that works to promote safe and inclusive schools that are free from hazing. According to the organization, the initiative is a first-of-its-kind, multi-year program that helps colleges create research to practice strategies to reduce hazing.
One of the major impacts of this initiative is illuminating the issue of hazing, so drawing more attention to it, making it more visible as a problem that needs to be solved, and so that happens when we get colleges and universities to make a commitment.
The organization's founder, University of Maine professor Elizabeth Allen, is a leading researcher on hazing. She says national research showed that up to 55% of college students that belong to college teams and organizations have experienced hazing. Since 2013, nearly 40 post-secondary institutions have participated in the initiative, and they hope to partner with many more. The summit will continue today at the Buchanan Alumni House.
Definitely, you hear a lot of horror stories about things like that.
Yeah.
All right, the time now is 8:10. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, some local kelp farmers are traveling all the way to Japan to learn from the experts. Strategies they hope will boost business here in Maine.
But first, another check of that weather forecast. Partly cloudy today with a few thunderstorms later on. They could be strong. Highs around 85 degrees. Tonight, partly cloudy. Those storms will continue with lows dropping down to the mid-50s. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy with a chance of sprinkles. The highs tomorrow around 75. We'll be right back.
Why spend money at an ATM? Avoid those extra fees with Maine Credit Unions and have access to the largest surcharge-free ATM network in the state. Find a SURF ATM near you at mainecreditunions.org.
A mystery.
Jessie loves playing detective.
But the real mystery was your irritated skin. So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. It cleans better and doesn't leave behind irritating residues.
And it's gentle on her skin.
Tide Free and Gentle Liquid is EPA Safer Choice certified.
It's got to be Tide.
Let's face it, getting training and experience is hard, but at Loring Job Corps we can help. From certifications in automotive technology, obtaining your CDL, or learning building trades, we have you covered. Maybe you prefer joining the high-tech world of computer networking or cybersecurity. We have that as well. Don't delay, get in the driver's seat to your future today. And the best part, Loring Job Corps is free. Receive free training, free meals, and even free housing. Call or go to jobcorps.gov/Loring. Job Corps careers begin here.
Gordon Ramsay and Lisa Vanderpump are searching for the next great food star.
You ready?
Born ready.
Food Stars, all new tonight on Fox.
I Can See Your Voice, Thursdays on Fox, and watch anytime on Hulu.
With the shared branching network, you can easily and conveniently do banking transactions at over 170 credit union branches in Maine and over 5,000 branches nationwide. There's one near you at mainecreditunions.org.
Well, what do we have here?
He is back.
A come down or a comeback? A risk taker or a troublemaker? A lucky run, or that's how it's done.
Great job, 5 team.
Surprise, surprise.
1, 2, 3, finish.
Or seen it coming. A trophy hunter or a party crasher? What if it was all that and a whole lot more?
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. According to the Maine Audubon, around 988 million birds die every year across the U.S. due to collisions with windows. And now a coalition of Mainers is trying to reduce that number. Bird Safe Maine is a collaboration between the Maine Audubon, University of Southern Maine, and the Portland Society of Architecture. The groups have been working together for 4 years to raise awareness of the bird strike problem and possible solutions.
Birds don't know what windows are, right? And humans are constantly trying to understand what our impact is on the environment and trying to reduce our impact. Birds don't know what windows are and then accidentally fly into them. They see reflections of the sky or habitat, or windows are invisible when lit from within, and they collide and die. The good news is that there are tons of ways to make it safer. Anything that lets a bird know that there's a window there and not the habitat or sky is a solution. And that can include things like decals on the windows or insect screens that you install during the summer or paint that your kids paint up there. There's a million different solutions if people just want to start utilizing them.
Lund adds there are a number of businesses throughout Maine that have stepped up to make their buildings safe for birds, and Bird Safe Maine recognized them with awards. Those companies include LL Bean, Memic, Saddleback Mountain, and Bigelow Laboratory for Ocean Science.
A library in Hamden is in disrepair, but the town council is looking into ways to help fix that. Mary Beckett, director of the Edith Dyer Library, the community library there, says the building has some rotting wood exteriors and deteriorating walls and ceilings. She says it's caused by humidity and a lack of airflow near the building, as well as a drainage issue that has caused water damage and exacerbated rot. The Hamden Town Council is now considering the use of bonds to fund repairs for the library. Residents will have a chance to weigh in on the matter during a public hearing in August. If approved, residents would vote whether to pass the bonds in November.
We've had so much moisture lately that the building hasn't been able to breathe. It hasn't gotten enough sunlight, hasn't been able to drain well around the property, and as a result we're having a lot of rot, and so the bond will hopefully mitigate the issues that we're having with that.
It says she's looking into potential community-based fundraisers in the future to help contribute to the cost of repairs.
A middle school science and math teacher in Winterport was honored with a prestigious award, one that will help her students learn and grow as budding scientists. Our Callie Warren takes us to the Samuel L. Wagner Middle School.
This is Mrs. Pohl's class. Students that have her in the future will be able to experience more direct learning after she was selected as one of 9 2024 National STEM Scholars.
So remember I said
And she's the only one selected from Maine.
I have this project that I've been wanting to fund forever about solar panels, so I said why not try it, and they selected me. I have $2,000 that I'm able to spend on getting the equipment necessary to bring that kind of learning into my classroom.
As part of the award, Pohl recently wrapped up a week of professional development in Kentucky, where she learned things she says she's passing on to her students.
It's a great week full of learning, exploring hands-on learning, support for our projects, and great collaboration with all the other teachers there.
She's using funding awarded to her from the STEM Scholar program for more learning opportunities.
Definitely the hands-on learning, that's going to be amazing for them next year.
Representatives from the STEM Scholar program say that middle school is a pivotal time for students to think about future careers, but almost 50% of American 8th graders lose interest in pursuing STEM subjects.
We don't have enough people going into STEM, so we need to spark that interest now. And middle school is the time to spark the interest.
Pohl's students say they're excited she got the award.
It's really cool how she was able to get this opportunity because she's such a great teacher.
And they say they're looking forward to learning more about science.
We haven't explored anything yet.
In Winterport, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Maine Coast Sea Vegetables founder Shep Earhart and general manager Serafina Earhart will be part of a group of Mainers who will be heading to Japan to study the country's kelp industry. Made possible through the Builders Initiative to Coastal Enterprises, their journey will be focused in the Hakodate region. Their trip will not only be a good opportunity to learn the Japanese wild and farm-raised kelp industry, but will also help bring together a culture found right here in the U.S.
For Maine to be really successful, or the United States, if we make it beyond Maine, we're going to need to diversify this fishery too. And there are people actively working on how we're going to aquaculture or farm some of these other species.
According to Earhart, the group is expected to return on June 18th. You're seeing it all along the coast. A lot of these businesses are diversifying. It used to be really focused on lobster and some fishing, but now they're spreading out to oysters. You were just reading about oysters. Yeah. Kelp farming, rockweed farming, all that kind of thing.
I think it's absolutely fantastic and so smart. As you were saying, diversifying is the word, because we're known for overfishing a lot of our specific type of things here on the Maine coast. And the fact that they're going to Japan to learn from experts who are, known around the world for their respect that they give to their food, that's just awesome.
It's great to see.
Yeah, great for the economy. All right, time now is 8:19. After the break, a new company in Maine is using their love of freeze drying to help save dogs and solve hunger. We'll take a look at what they're doing to give back to the community.
Don't go away. More Good Morning Maine right after this.
When you say let's go to breakfast, you mean let's go to McDonald's. Obviously.
Get 2 sausage McMuffin with egg or bacon, egg, and cheese biscuits for $4.50.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Febreze. Hi, I use Febreze Fade Defy Plug.
And I use this.
Febreze has a microchip to control scent release, so it smells first day fresh for 50 days.
50 days?
And its refill reminder light means I'll never miss a day of freshness. Febreze Plug.
Every time you shop at Hannaford, you help us promote inclusivity, opportunity, and a sense of belonging in every store. You help us build a culture where leaders reflect our diverse communities, where veterans forge new career paths, and where our employees and neighbors alike can find their voice. Together, we're not just feeding families, we're strengthening communities. Hannaford Supermarkets, greater than groceries.
While politicians talked, President Trump fought for working people. He took on China and secured the border. I'm Austin Terrio, former NASCAR driver and small business owner. I'm proud to have President Trump's endorsement. Together we'll secure the border, stop Biden's electric vehicle mandate, and bring back American manufacturing. I'll fight to make sure our best days are ahead.
Endorsed by President Trump. Austin Terrio for Congress.
I'm Austin Terrio, and I approve this message.
My name is Connie. The grandkids call me Meemaw. You can say I have a few gentlemen callers.
She made the team. And Meemaw got a date with the coach.
What? It was a productive afternoon. Young Sheldon.
Weekdays at 4 on Fox 22. If you have to ask why it's important to start your day early, here's your answer.
Kick your morning routine into high gear with any sized iced coffee for just $1.99.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Welcome back, everyone. A dog shelter in Quebec is looking to expand its services in a way you might never imagine.
Instead of just rescuing canines from kill shelters, Give a Dog a Home Rescue is going one step further. The nonprofit is looking to start a freeze-dry food program called Preserve and Provide that will benefit pets and people.
Our Jody Hersey has the details.
Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? You know, for everybody, you could be very comfortable one day and broke the next day.
Jenny Cope, owner and founder of Give a Dog a Home Rescue in Quebec, sees firsthand how pet owners in Piscataquis County and throughout Maine are struggling to get by. So she came up with the idea of freeze-drying meat and other treats for dogs, as well as fruits and vegetables for humans.
So I've come up with a program, we're calling it Preserve and Provide. We've got a freeze dryer and we're going to be starting freeze drying food, candy, treats, fruits, vegetables.
Cope purchased a medium-sized freeze dryer, which she uses for apples, bananas, sweet potato, and other items that would normally have a short shelf life. Then she seals them in airtight packages. However, she'd like to build a commercial kitchen here where she can freeze dry more products for Mainers in need.
Also, once we've got a commercial license, we can also sell things, which means that we can bring money in to help compensate the cost of running the program. But obviously, we want to also be self-sufficient to some extent.
Cope says products that are freeze-dried maintain a lot of their nutritional value. Cope is applying for grants and hoping volunteers with building experience will help her commercial kitchen become a reality. She has also set up a fundraiser on the Give a Dog a Home Facebook page in hopes of raising the funds needed.
My kind of goal is to offer everything to everybody. You know, just because you might not be able to afford something doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to have it in regards to nutrition and things like that.
In Quebec, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
It's a great idea, and people were sampling it around here. You sampled it too, pretty good. Huh?
I tried everything except for the dog food. It was fantastic, unlike anything I'd ever had. And I think the freeze-dried fruit especially would be really great in the winter months when sometimes our fruit isn't necessarily as ripe as we want it to be. But it's lovely. I'm picturing it in like a bowl of cereal.
Yeah, and you get the nutrition along with it too.
Yeah.
Cereal's a great idea.
Yeah.
Instead of like the little marshmallows you get,
You can bake with it too. I saw a recipe the other day of lemon bars, but they crushed up freeze-dried strawberries and made a pretty little swirl with it.
Yeah.
So
I like pretty little swirls.
Okay.
In my food.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little
pretty food.
caramel swirl, whatever.
Yeah, make the food pretty.
Yeah.
All right, the time now is 8:24.
Let's get a full look at our forecast.
All righty, Craig and Emma, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Comfort Shoes and More. Need the proper fit for your new spring and summer footwear? Visit us across from Irving and Newport. Let's check in on the wave heights this morning. Look how quiet we are along the coast at around 1 to 3 feet according to the buoys. This dark shade of blue here indicating some nice wave heights this morning. No advisories in effect offshore or on land for that matter either. If you're thinking about going to the ocean soon, especially today with the warmer temperatures, water temperatures still rather chilly out there in the 50s. So if you're thinking about swimming, have the proper gear ready to go because it's still rather cold out there. This can definitely cause some problems in a hurry. But for now, if you do want to see some of the warmer water temperatures, as before, water temperatures remaining in the 70s and 80s, practically feeling like bath water further down to the south and east of the U.S. But for now, though, we are seeing some clouds that are developing in our neck of the woods this morning. Nothing too crazy going on here. Seeing a little bit more action that's off to the south and west. There's some areas seeing showers and maybe a few rumbles of thunder this morning. Nothing too crazy going on here. Just a quick little downpour, and that's about it. Maybe a few boomers of lightning, and that's about it, and thunder. But for now, here we are. Further off towards the west, more showers and storms are developing. This pattern continuing to remain active. We'll have our turn for a few showers and thunderstorms coming up throughout the daytime period today. So some clouds this morning. We might lose some later on, but then more clouds and even a few showers and storms during the afternoon. As we head towards the evening time frame, we'll lose the storms and the clouds as well. Maybe a few clouds overnight, but widespread areas of dense fog look to be possible as we head towards Thursday morning. So be ready for some areas of dense fog that can make travel a little bit difficult from time to time in a few areas. But once we head towards your Thursday, maybe a few sprinkles possible, but overall we'll be looking okay. For now, though, as we check out the rainfall, again, locally heavy downpours possible. Some of you could get close to a half an inch before we're all finished up. Other areas, maybe not so much at all. But then running this through at least through parts of the weekend, a lot of rainfall on the way between now and as we head towards Sunday morning, between maybe 3/4 of an inch and even a little over an inch possible before we're all finished up. So more rainfall on the way throughout the week. As for now, though, our average high temperature is 72 degrees. We'll do middle 80s today, the middle 70s for your Thursday, back in the 60s Friday, Saturday, also in the Sunday, and back in the 70s again Monday and also in your Tuesday. For today, here we go. Partly cloudy, a few thunderstorms possible. Highs in the mid 80s and the wind overall looking nice and calm. Maybe a quick breeze from time to time. Overnight tonight, thunderstorms early, becoming partly cloudy with dense fog possible. Lows in the mid 50s and a southeast breeze at around 5 miles per hour. And for tomorrow, mostly cloudy, sprinkles possible. Highs in the mid 70s and a southeast wind at around 20 miles per hour. All right, let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Comfort Shoes and More. Chances for showers and thunderstorms Friday with highs in the upper 60s. Upper 60s again for your Saturday with another chance for showers and thunderstorms. More showers on Sunday with highs also in the upper 60s.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
Are you experiencing foot pain? Comfort Shoes and More has a team of experts trained in pet orthotics to help you find relief. They offer tailored fittings, shoe modifications, customized orthotics, and much more for the ordinary or for the hard-to-fit foot, with fashionable and functional footwear from today's top brands: Hoka, Brooks, Keen, Teva, Taos, Ufus, and Birkenstocks. From running to walking, casual or dress, they have it all. Take the drive to Newport for a sit and fit to find your perfect fit. You and your feet will be glad you did.
When it comes to automotive and heavy equipment repair, trust the experts at CTI Service Center, located in Old Town and Milford. CTI offers heavy-duty part sales at our Old Town location, as well as on-the-road service with our heavy-duty mobile units. CTI also offers tire sales, including Mountain Spin Balance, as well as Old Town's only heavy-duty alignment system. CTI Service Center diagnoses issues swiftly and accurately. For reliable service and peace of mind, give us a call or visit us online at ctiservicecenter.com. CTI Service Center, simply the best.
She's the apple of his eye.
Ta-da! What do you think?
You look beautiful. And you're grounded.
She may be a tomboy.
You're so lucky you get to be in junior G.I. Joes. And you're lucky I don't want to get blood on my uniform.
But she's still Daddy's little girl.
Sit down, I won't touch you for a minute.
This isn't a sex talk, is it? Because I already know more than I'd like to.
Learn all about Eve.
Am I supposed to understand what you mean by that?
Mm-hmm.
On Last Man Standing.
Weekdays at 3 on Fox 22.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. A woman in Ohio is in custody on a $1 million bond after being accused of stabbing and killing a 3-year-old boy. The attack happened Monday in the parking lot of a Giant Eagle in the city of North Olmsted. The boy and his mother were stabbed. Both were brought to a hospital where the boy did die. The suspect is a 32-year-old woman who police say was holding the weapon, a kitchen knife, when she was arrested. North Olmsted is southwest of Cleveland.
Prosecutors started laying out their case against Hunter Biden on gun charges on Tuesday. They called their first witness, an FBI special agent, to the stand. Fox News senior national correspondent Rich Edson has the story.
Hunter Biden returned to a Delaware courtroom Tuesday for opening statements in his federal firearms case. The First Lady, Jill Biden, once again here to support her stepson. Prosecutors opened, telling jurors, quote, "No one is above the law," as they allege Hunter lied on a federal gun form in 2018, swearing he was not a drug user. The defense says the gun form asks whether the buyer is a drug user, not whether they've ever been.
The form does not get into whether or not you've undergone treatment. The form is as ambiguous as it possibly could be written.
The president's son has pleaded not guilty to 3 felony charges. His attorney, Abby Lowell, says Hunter was in denial about his addiction, adding he was abusing alcohol, not drugs, when he bought a small handgun in 2018.
For a while, they were saying that they would argue that he had this brief moment of sobriety, but then Hunter Biden came in and reaffirmed that he was using drugs throughout this period.
After opening statements, prosecutors called FBI Special Agent Erica Jensen to the stand, who said her job was to tie Hunter's alleged addiction to the period when he bought the gun. She's one of several witnesses Special Counsel David Weiss's team plans to have testify.
Family members are going to testify against him. Beau Biden's wife is going to testify about throwing the gun away. And then there's the forensic evidence regarding the cocaine on the gun pouch.
Hunter Biden also faces federal tax-related charges in Los Angeles. That trial begins in September. In Wilmington, Rich Edson, Fox News.
President Joe Biden's executive action on the southern border went into effect overnight. It limits the number of migrants who enter the U.S. illegally from staying here as they seek asylum. The move is already getting pushback from both sides, despite a bipartisan border security bill that has sat in Congress for months. In an aggressive executive action, President Biden immediately shutting down the asylum process in the U.S. for people crossing the border illegally. Once migrant apprehensions reached 2,500 a day over the course of a week. The rules would hold until unscheduled apprehensions dip below 1,500 per day for 2 weeks. There are limited exceptions for unaccompanied children of victims of human trafficking, and there is no limit on the legal process at ports of entry. The administration says something needed to be done.
Also a campaign year. You have
Right.
to kind of recognize that, so that's a big one, a big concern for a lot of people.
Right.
Yeah.
And coming up on the second half of the newscast, it's kitten season, and the Hancock County SPCA is trying to rehome 30 adorable little bundles of joy.
We'll have that story and more as Good Morning Maine continues.
With Cascade Platinum Plus, I have upped my dish game.
Oh, and see, in that dishwasher.
Watch me.
Platinum Plus gives you the highest standard of clean, even in your machine.
Clean enough for you?
Yeah.
Scrape, load, done. Cascade Platinum Plus.
I have prepared a Thomas's breakfast for you to savor together.
Thanks, Tom. Hey, are English muffins from England?
Heavens no. They're from the pantry.
Are you from England?
Nay, I am also from the pantry. Huzzah! A toast to breakfast.
The Lucerne Inn and Ryan's Pub is world-renowned for beautiful dining with a delicious view, featuring award-winning dishes from their executive chef, Arturo Montes. It's a true destination dining experience. Relax and unwind in an intimate space with your loved ones, family, and friends. We are pet-friendly, so your furry friends are always welcome to join you at your table on the deck, whether it's a special occasion or any occasion. The Lucerne Inn is the perfect choice for your business or family gathering.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is Wednesday, June 5th, 2024. It's also Global Running Day.
Running for at least 10 minutes a day can significantly lower your risk of cardiovascular disease, and people who run regularly lower their chance of dying from heart disease by half. Plus, there are serious psychological benefits as well. Generally, serious runners have a certain type of commitment that goes beyond just exercising for good health. Oftentimes, the more they run, the more they feel connected to their inner selves and can more clearly understand themselves and their tasks ahead. I certainly am not a runner, and I don't think it would necessarily be great for my body. I've broken an ankle before, so the stress on the joints cannot be as good for other people, but walking, I love a long, brisk walk.
Yeah, go for a walk. You'll get a lot of the same benefits, and you get to check out the countryside while you're doing it.
Go outside.
Yeah.
As long as you're getting some sort of exercise and going outside, I'd say you're doing pretty well.
Just have to stay busy.
Right.
All right, now for some history, and it's kind of bleak today. On this day in history back in 1888, President Grover Cleveland vetoed a bill that would have given a pension to a war widow. Her husband had died by suicide 14 years after being discharged from the Army. After his death, his widow applied for a widow's pension, but it was denied because it was a suicide and not what the government considered to be a long-term disability caused by military service. However, Johanna, the woman's name, claimed her husband had suffered from psychological distress due to his military service and felt entitled to his benefits. You said earlier he had served in the Civil War.
Right.
And that's before we recognized things like post-traumatic stress disorder and things like that. So.
Right. I know recognizing post-traumatic stress disorder has been very recent,
Yeah.
but that was at a time when it was like completely dismissed,
Right.
which is crazy considering all the people that fought in the Civil War.
And you get those mental scars along with everything else, too.
He was not okay the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And it just reading about it this morning broke my heart for her and made me remember how glad I am to live in this time.
Right. All right, moving on now. In 1917, another war, 10 million men in the U.S. began registering for the draft during World War I.
In 1944, more than 1,000 British bombers dropped 5,000 tons of bombs on German gun batteries placed at the Normandy assault area. Meanwhile, as 3,000 Allied ships crossed the English Channel. All of this, of course, as many folks know, in preparation for D-Day. And in 1947, in one of the most significant speeches of the Cold War, U.S. Secretary of State George Marshall calls on the United States to assist in the economic recovery of post-war Europe. And in 1988, the first Children's Miracle Network telethon raised $590,000. And in 2013, the first article based on the NSA leaked documents by Edward Snowden was published by the Guardian newspaper in the UK, a very controversial one there. And I didn't even write down, on this day also, in the 60s, Bobby Kennedy was assassinated.
Yeah. Some of those days are like that. If you look back through history, just so many bad things happen.
Right.
You have to kind of dig for the good things.
I had to dig for the good things, and there was not much.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I guess this just means we'll shed some light on some important things.
There you go.
But good morning to
at least
the folks at home.
Yeah, at least we have some good birthdays today. For birthdays today, we have the owner of the New England Patriots, Robert Kraft. He is 83 years old today. Actor Mark Wahlberg is 53. And saxophonist and composer Kenny G is 68 years old today.
Yeah, diverse group of dudes.
Yeah, happy birthday to
them.
them.
Doing different stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, moving right along now. We are supposed to get, there's a warning for some severe thunderstorms in the next 24 hours.
Yeah, if you have outside things, maybe get them done this morning or early afternoon because later on in the day it could get a little messy.
I also, from Devin's forecast, I realized today's the hottest day in the next 7 days, so maybe enjoy it while it lasts.
Yeah, I like the heat.
Right, me too. Here's Devin Biggs with the forecast.
And thank you very much, Craig and Emma. Happy Wednesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Comfort Shoes and More. Need the proper fit for your new spring and summer footwear? Visit us across from Irving and Newport. Already this morning, there's some clouds that are developing out there, tracking from the northwest and going to the south and east. Not a whole lot going on here. We'll have a good amount of sunshine to start things off, mixing in with a little bit of cloud cover from time to time. But later this afternoon, more clouds will develop, along with chances for showers and thunderstorms that will begin to enter the picture. But for now, just a little bit of activity just to the west of us, a few showers and a rumble of thunder there, but for now we're looking pretty good. Now later today we'll lose some of the clouds, but then more clouds developing later in the afternoon with the daytime heating. We'll lose those storm chances overnight as of course the sun goes down, but then watching for widespread areas of dense fog as we head towards early Thursday morning. As for the wind, though, again, not too bad, maybe a quick breeze at around 5 to 10 miles per hour at times, but overall the wind will be rather quiet today and the parts of tonight, maybe picking up a little bit more as we head towards the daytime tomorrow. So for today, partly cloudy, a few thunderstorms possible, locally heavy downpours cannot be ruled out with highs in the mid-80s, maybe a little humid out there as well, and the wind overall looking nice and calm. Later on tonight, some thunderstorms early, then becoming partly cloudy. Areas of dense fog also possible with lows in the mid-50s and a southeast breeze at around 5 miles per hour. And for tomorrow, mostly cloudy, some sprinkles possible, highs in the mid-70s and a southeast wind at around 20 miles per hour. All right, at our early forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period, showing increasing clouds by the afternoon with chances for showers and thunderstorms, warming up into the 80s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Emma.
All right, thank you, Devin. Well, kitten season is in full swing at the Hancock County SPCA. Currently, there are more than 30 kittens in residence at the shelter, and in an effort to find them all loving homes, they're hosting a kitten shower on Saturday, June 8th to get the little ones some exposure.
In the past month, we've taken in over 75 mother cats and kittens, so we have lots of little adorable felines looking for their forever home.
The kitten shower is free to attend, but donations are highly encouraged to offset the cost of caring for them all. For more information, you can visit the Hancock County SPCA website. Such cute little kitties.
Oh my gosh.
Needing a home.
I really like the video of them trying to pet them, but they're just too wiggly.
Right. Yeah, I love little kitties.
Oh, look at that.
Hopefully they all find homes this weekend.
I have a feeling they'll do well.
Yeah.
Okay, still to come here this morning, Tyler Cruz will have our sports updates.
Don't go away. More Good Morning Maine after this. Doesn't that look fun?
There's a way to cut your dishwashing time by 50%. Try Dawn Power Wash Dish Spray. It removes 99% of grease and grime in half the time. It cleans so well, you can replace multiple cleaning products. Try Dawn Power Wash.
A year after a heart attack, Mike's feeling like himself again. But even though time has passed, his risk of a second attack hasn't. Mike is still living in the red, with a very high risk of another heart attack or stroke. He doesn't know with his risk factors, his LDL-C, bad cholesterol, is still too high. The recommended level is below 55. Are you living in the red? Get in the know. Learn how to get a free LDL-C test at attackheartdisease.com.
Spring is here, and so are the savings at the Furniture Gallery. Relax with a reclining sofa and recliner for only $9.98. Opening up camp, queen mattresses starting at $188, and sleeper sofas starting at $598. Power lift recliners also starting at $598, or save $100 on medical grade lift recliners. All Flex Steel now 10% off, and all Von Bassett bedroom sets 20% off. It's easy to buy at the Furniture Gallery with 18-month 0% interest financing. The Furniture Gallery.
Why should your new floor come from Carpet One? Because we're passionate about the spaces our neighbors call home. We're part of your community, and we're also part of the world's largest cooperative of independently owned and operated flooring stores. So you can be sure you'll get great selection and outstanding value with every installation. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, tile, or luxury vinyl, our experts take the guesswork out of choosing the right floor. We're your local Carpet One Floor and Home, the one store for your perfect floor.
The $1 Million Music Game Show is back.
I love this show!
With one simple rule.
We need you to remember the lyrics of the song.
So come on, every guy. Wow.
Don't forget the lyrics. All new Thursdays on Fox, and watch anytime on Hulu.
What I'm doing, getting right to it. This money is talking, I'm flowing, it's coming in just how I do.
Major League Baseball, all season long on Fox.
In about 36 hours, basketball will be back. Welcome back in, everyone. Thanks for staying with us. The Boston Celtics and Dallas Mavericks tipping off in the NBA Finals at 8:30 p.m. on Thursday, and the C's will be at full force once again. Boston expects to have Kristaps Porzingis back for Game 1 of the Finals after being sidelined since April 29th with a right calf strain suffered in the first round against Miami. Obviously, the team is pumped to get him back, and KP himself is excited to contribute in his first ever NBA Finals.
That's incredible. It's incredible. I think just the energy, like everybody's buzzing. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be, even just seeing the amount of people now, it shows the magnitude of this and what's on the line. And the goal is to finish the job.
But obviously, there'll be a little bit of rust, but
Just not concerned because of the work that he's put in and what he's done in his career and what he's done in this season for us.
Looking forward for that getting underway. Let's go to the softball diamond now. Quarterfinals also getting underway this week, and the Old Town Coyotes are red hot heading into the Class B North tournament. The Coyotes started 4-3, but have lost only one game since on their way to a second-place finish in the region. The team says that the key to their success has really been getting on the board early and scoring first, and they also say that contributing to that hot streak is their ever-growing team chemistry.
I definitely think it's our team chemistry. It's definitely built as the season has gone on. I mean, we've become like sisters, and that's definitely helped us to perform better on the field.
Keeping our energy up in the dugout, we have these chants that we sing, and we just give each other positive feedback, and we all pick up on it. We're all together. We're on the same page. Therefore, like, we make great plays, and we know where we're going each play.
Class B North is a very competitive region, as always, with teams like top-seeded Nokomis and the always tough Ellsworth. The Coyotes enter with the mindset of just playing every game like it's their last, and if they keep that up, they feel like they can bring home their first regional crown since 2018.
Being available for anybody that needs, help moving forward, and just leaving mistakes in the field and leaving mistakes at the plate.
We need to capitalize on stealing bases, swinging our bats early, and getting runs. It'd be the greatest feeling I've ever felt.
Staying on the high school field, and some preliminary and quarterfinal matchups also getting going on Tuesday. Starting in Herman with some baseball, Hawks and Belfast Lions battling in the Class B prelims. Top of the first, Belfast gets going early. Runner on third for Gary Gale, and he lines it into left. That is going to bring home a run. Lions led 2-0 after one. To the fourth, Lions up 3-0. Gavin Scripture at the dish for the Hawks with a duck in the pond. He plays Max Hopkins. Hawks would score 3 in the inning to tie it up. 4-3 now in the fifth. Braden Ladd at the plate with 2 runners on, and he drives one into left field. Scripture scores. Maddox Kinney comes around and slides in safely. Herman wins it 7-3 is your final. Now to a Class C baseball prelim, 9-seed George Stevens visiting the 8-seeded Orono. Bottom 5, Riots up 5-4 with a man on second. Matt Allen puts it in the dirt. Brady Pert grabs it and gets it to first for the out. Inning over. What a play right there. Top 6, Orono's Jack Brewer up against Cam Walden. Check swing, and he went on that high heat. Nice pitch right there. Top 7 now. Here we go. Brewer gets Skylar Carter to chase with the off-speed pitch for the strikeout. Brewer was dealing late in the game. Next batter is Pert, and he pops it up. Brewer under it, grabs it to end it. A complete game for Jack. Orono wins it 5-4. All right, let's stay at Orono. Class C North boys quarters between 8-seed Dexter and top-seeded Red Riots. Here's third singles. Orono's Cooper White lobs one into Cole Doherty, but Doherty puts it where no one can get it for the point. Nice return right there. Later, Doherty with it again with the return, but White stays at the net, and he is going to block this one for his point. Doherty, though, would win the match. Second singles we go. Orono's Nick Agrawal, a fast serve to Aiden Langlace. Too much for a return. Agrawal wins that match. On to first singles we go now. Orono's Henry Butens sends it into Jason Bowden, but Bowden can't control, and it is out. Butens wins the match, and the Riots win 4-1. All right, to the lacrosse field now. Keep this train rolling. Bangor hosting Bonnie Eagle in a Class A prelim, all tied at 2. Look at the ball movement from the Rams. Chase Karen to Miles Randall to Marc-Andre Perron, and he finds the net. Bangor takes a 3-2 lead. 4-2 now. Here come the Scots. Connor Crunkala turning on the Jets, outrunning the whole defense for the goal. Bonnie Eagle back within 1. Second quarter. Here comes Bonnie. Second quarter. This is actually Miles Randall. Fires it with the left. That one goes. Rams advance to the quarters. They win it 14-9. And over to Husson University for another Class A prelim. South Portland Red Riots taking on Hamden Academy. Second quarter, Hamden down. Bryce Gordon charging on. Look at the save from Matt Shane to keep him at bay. Still in the second, Beckett Melhorn coming from behind the net. Jumps, turns, and fires, scores top shelf. Lacrosse's Derek Jeter right there. Melhorn again here. He's going to find Ian House, gets through traffic, and gets it to go. Riots win 16-7. And that is all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Commercial vehicles can be dangerous, and they usually carry big insurance policies. So whether you're hurt by a landscaping truck like this, a work van like this, or a big rig like this, we know commercial vehicle accidents. And we know how to get you the big money you may deserve. If any commercial vehicle hurts you, call the twos. We win for you.
Hurt by a commercial vehicle? Call the twos. We win for you. Call 222-2222.
I'll be honest. By the end of the day, my floors? Yeesh. But who has the time to clean? That's why I love my Swiffer WetJet. It's a quick and easy way to get my floors clean. WetJet absorbs and locks grime deep inside. Look at that. Swiffer WetJet.
Great Scott! This is Green Bear 420 in 2010. What kind of trip is this? I gotta get back to 2023. Wait, it's 2015. So much has changed. In 2023, we had a lot more glass, t-shirts, and novelties. It's gonna take a bolt of lightning to get me home. Finally, home at last. Now Green Bear 420, Green Bear Green Care is bigger and better than ever. To be continued.
Noah's Ark Food and Ice Cream is open for business. Located 5 miles off exit 244 in Medway, you will find affordable prices on all of your favorites. We offer homemade pizza, mouth-watering cheeseburgers, lobster rolls, scallops, and a local favorite is our sweet sausage sub. We also have kid-friendly meals and offer fresh doughboys and ice cream year-round. Noah's Ark Food and Ice Cream. Stop by for a delicious bite to eat and dessert too.
25 words or less.
You've been great against each other. You've become closer friends.
Yes, a lot has transpired. But just know, when we leave here, I will block Melissa's number.
5 days a week.
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. I'm here with Jeff Cumming. He's the Executive Director of the Oceanarium and Education Center in Bar Harbor. And he's here to talk about a cool event that's going on this weekend. It's the Maine Ocean Festival. Jeff, thanks for joining us this morning.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So what's the event going to be like on Saturday, right?
Saturday, yes. It's a celebration of World Oceans Day, which is also the 8th this year. And it's our second annual event. It's our annual fundraiser as well. But we've got lots of presenters and tent exhibits and, of course, the Oceanarium itself with our aquarium and marine museum. So lots of things for families, kids of all ages to come and see and do.
Yeah, sounds like it's great for parents and maybe even folks who don't have kids with them as well.
Yeah, we get quite a mix at the Oceanarium generally and for the Ocean Fest as well. We are, I have 3 kids of my own, so we're definitely kid-friendly, but it's not just for kids, for sure.
Yeah, what kind of presentations?
We have Diver Ed, first of all.
Oh, that's a big deal. Yeah. I saw him years ago.
Yeah, he's wonderful, and my kids love him. He's leading off, and then we have an owl presentation from Chewonki.
Cool.
Frogtown Puppeteers at noon, and then a Celtic band later in the afternoon.
Wow. So music, there's things that aren't just having to do with the coast.
That's right.
It's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, well, Celtic music is often coastal anyway, so
it ties
everything
in.
Fits. Everything fits somehow.
And this, you were saying this is a big fundraiser for you guys.
It is.
What's the importance of that?
Well, we're a nonprofit. We've taken over a seasonal business, so we have an interesting model where we do make our own money, but we still need donations and grant writing and things like that to survive. So this is our big annual fundraiser. We have an online auction going on right now.
Cool.
And then the tickets sales today and other revenue streams from today will help us get a nice boost going into the season.
Nice. How much is a ticket?
$17.50 for adults. Actually, I'm sorry, it's $18 for adults and only $12 for kids.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
And you guys were closed for a number of years. Can we have a refresher on where you guys are for those who don't remember or don't know?
Yeah, the site itself actually is a peninsula into the salt marsh, and it was Aqualand way back in the 60s and 70s, and then it was the Mount Desert Oceanarium with David and Audrey Mills from 1990 up until mid-aughts, mid-teens rather. Then it was dormant for about 5 years, and we formed a nonprofit to buy it and resurrect it. And that's what we're in the process of doing right now.
Very cool. No, so I misremembered. I just remembered the location on West Street. You were saying there were a couple locations.
Yeah.
That one's no more in Bar Harbor.
That's right.
But you guys have probably a bigger location available to you right on the main strip right there.
Yeah, there's 20 acres right in the marsh, which makes it great for a great exhibit. The whole campus is an exhibit, really.
Yeah, cool. Sounds like something for everybody.
Yep.
We'll have this information on foxbangor.com. And where can you buy a ticket?
You can buy them online at theoceanarium.org, or you can just show up the day of the event. We don't need reservations or anything. Just come on by. 1351 State Highway 3.
Easy enough. Thanks for joining us, Jeff.
Thank you very much.
Of course. We'll send it over to Devin Biggs for our full weather forecast.
Your full weather forecast brought to you by Comfort Shoes and More. Need the proper fit for your new spring and summer footwear? Visit us across from Irving and Newport. Let's check in on the wave heights this morning. Look how quiet we are along the coast at around 1 to 3 feet according to the buoys. This dark shade of blue here indicating some nice wave heights this morning. No advisories in effect offshore or on land for that matter either. If you're thinking about going to the ocean soon, especially today with the warmer temperatures, water temperatures still rather chilly out there in the 50s. So if you're thinking about swimming, have the proper gear ready to go because it's still rather cold out there. This can definitely cause some problems in a hurry. But for now, if you do want to see some of the warmer water temperatures, as before, water temperatures remaining in the 70s and 80s, practically feeling like bath water further down to the south and east of the U.S. But for now, though, we are seeing some clouds that are developing in our neck of the woods this morning. Nothing too crazy going on here. Seeing a little bit more action that's off to the south and west. There's some areas seeing showers and maybe a few rumbles of thunder this morning. Nothing too crazy going on here. Just a quick little downpour, and that's about it. Maybe a few boomers of lightning, and that's about it, and thunder. But for now, here we are. Further off towards the west, more showers and storms are developing. This pattern continuing to remain active. We'll have our turn for a few showers and thunderstorms coming up throughout the daytime period today. So some clouds this morning. We might lose some later on, but then more clouds and even a few showers and storms during the afternoon. As we head towards the evening time frame, we'll lose the storms and the clouds as well. Maybe a few clouds overnight, but widespread areas of dense fog look to be possible as we head towards Thursday morning. So be ready for some areas of dense fog that can make travel a little bit difficult from time to time in a few areas. But once we head towards your Thursday, maybe a few sprinkles possible, but overall we'll be looking okay. For now, though, as we check out the rainfall, again, locally heavy downpours possible. Some of you could get close to a half an inch before we're all finished up. Other areas, maybe not so much at all. But then running this through at least through parts of the weekend, a lot of rainfall on the way between now and as we head towards Sunday morning, between maybe 3/4 of an inch and even a little over an inch possible before we're all finished up. So more rainfall on the way throughout the week. As for now, though, our average high temperature is 72 degrees. We'll do middle 80s today, the middle 70s for your Thursday. Back in the 60s Friday, Saturday, also in the Sunday, and back in the 70s again Monday and also in your Tuesday. For today, here we go. Partly cloudy, a few thunderstorms possible. Highs in the mid 80s and the wind overall looking nice and calm. Maybe a quick breeze from time to time. Overnight tonight, thunderstorms early, becoming partly cloudy with dense fog possible. Lows in the mid 50s and a southeast breeze at around 5 miles per hour. And for tomorrow, mostly cloudy, sprinkles possible. Highs in the mid 70s and a southeast wind at around 20 miles per hour. All right, let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Comfort Shoes and More. Chances for showers and thunderstorms Friday with highs in the upper 60s again for your Saturday with another chance for showers and thunderstorms. More showers on Sunday with highs also in the upper 60s.
Protect your vehicle from rusting away with Bell's Automotive Protection. We are the leader in mobile undercoating and rust proofing in Maine. We'll travel right to your driveway using the best and safest products on the market. This is much safer than rubberized coatings that can cause damage later on. We spray all types of vehicles, including commercial fleets. We all know vehicles aren't cheap anymore. Don't let the harsh winter chemicals eat them away. Call us or visit our page for a free quote. 207-659-3805.
Refine, your local expert in window and door installation, carpentry repairs, and commercial facilities management. At Refine, we're proud to offer Maine-made Paradigm windows crafted with care and precision to ensure quality and durability like no other. From quaint cottages to bustling businesses, let us refine your space with our signature Maine-made touch. Trust Refine to exceed your expectations every time. Contact us today and let Maine craftsmanship elevate your home or business. Rise with Refine.
When you smell the amazing scent of Gain Flings, time stops. And you realize you're in love.
Steve!
With a laundry detergent. Gain Flings, seriously good scent.
Hammond Lumber Company has been a trusted partner of professional contractors, do-it-yourselfers, and homeowners for generations. It's the level of trust that Hammond Lumber has earned by providing an extensive selection of products and materials from industry-leading suppliers with guidance and support through every stage of any project, including delivery of materials throughout Maine and New Hampshire. Hammond Lumber Company is, has been, and will always be your building project partner.
Taking the time to savor Thomas's crunchy yet soft bagels.
Thanks, Tom.
It's Tom, actually. Right, Tom.
Tom.
You doing that on purpose?
Tam.
Tam. How have we got to Tam? Huzzah! A toast to breakfast.
One man's trash is another man's treasure. That's the case for James Kane, a magnet fisher from New York City.
Magnet fishing?
Yeah.
Is that for real?
It's a thing.
Oh. On Friday, he was mining for gold and pulled out a safe that was filled with stacks of $100 bills. Kane and his girlfriend estimated they attracted $100,000 worth of damaged cash. They contacted the police, but say they were told there's no crime, so finders keepers. Oh, and that's...
Look at that.
Wow. What?
Got to keep it. He had probably cleaned it up a little bit, but.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And now, of course, the news and the IRS knows about it.
Yeah, right.
Wah, wah.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Have a great day.
Today on 25 Words or Less, we've got the Queen of Nice on the show. And you know, even when